El Toro opened on June 12, 2006 and instantly became not only one of the best wooden coasters in the world, but one of the best ones, wood or steel. Fast forward to 2022, and after two recent major incidents in just over a year, what does the future look like for El Toro? And here is what I think Six Flags will need to do if they ever want to keep El Toro in operation. Plus, how will our favorite CEO handle the latest bit of bad news for the company? Now, before I get into my thoughts about El Toro and predictions for the future of personally my favorite wooden roller coaster, I wanted to say that my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone on the ride when the incident happened, and I hope everyone has a speedy recovery. So, according to Fox News, at around 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, August 25th, 2022, one of El Toro's trains came back into the station and had multiple people injured. Now, while most of the injuries were minor, there were still a few people taken to the hospital for what was being called bumps and bruises. Audio provided by Broadcastity reveals that a few injured riders went to the hospital for back and neck pain. However, some people on the train refused medical attention. From what we know now, it sounds like there has been a pothole at the bottom of one of the coaster's drops for some time now and has been progressively getting worse over the last few weeks and months. According to Derailed Coasters and East Coasters, whose home park is Six Flags Great Adventure, and they have both ridden El Toro recently and have said that both trains have been suffering from some jackhammering throughout the layout. They also said that the jackhammering has gotten so bad that they said they couldn't take how rough and painful the ride really was. So something must have happened with this pothole to cause this, so I'm guessing, but maybe the wood track cracked or something like that. Again, I do not know, but what we do know is that this was not a derailment like the other recent incident on El Toro on June 29, 2021. And that was when the last car of the train derailed near the end of the ride. Now, the good news with that incident is that no one was injured. However, Six Flags kept El Toro closed the rest of the 2021 season to work on it and supposedly fix it. And now, 14 months later, we have an even worse accident happen. So why does this feel like the Superman Tower of Power accident at Kentucky Kingdom all over again? Because that was when the park was using a very old cable for the drop tower that should have been replaced a long time ago. And it was clear that a park in the Six Flags chain was cutting corners then, and it appears that maybe Great Adventure might be doing the same thing now. I don't know about you, but I feel like the park just put a band-aid on El Toro just to get it open for 2022 and didn't want to spend the appropriate money or time on actually fixing this roller coaster the way it needed to be done. So now that you know the backstory about the 181-foot tall Intamin Prefab wooden coaster, it's time to talk about the future of the ride. To date, Intamin has only built 4 of these prefab woodies, and to my knowledge, only 3 of them have track issues. South Korea's T-Express hasn't had any major issues, again to my knowledge. Boulder at Liseberg has been down for a while due to extensive work, and I'm assuming the track. And Colossus at Germany's Heidi Park was standing but not operating due to track issues from 2016 through 2019. So it's clear that Six Flags maybe should have spent the money and time to retrack El Toro last year and keep it closed for this year while they're getting the new coaster fixed to its former glory. The state of New Jersey is very strict when it comes to amusement rides and roller coasters and obviously safety. And honestly, strict is good. There is no reason why El Toro has had 2 incidents, especially in such a short time. And from my sources, the state of New Jersey told Great Adventure after the incident in 2021, that was it. This was the last chance for this coaster. And if something else happens on it, that they are going to deem it unsafe and close it down for good. Now, will this happen, and will the state actually do this? I honestly don't see how they can't at this point, and I really hate saying that. Because look, the last thing any of us want, and especially the park, is people getting hurt on the rides and feeling unsafe. and Six Flags had to get El Toro back in operation as soon as possible. Six Flags Great Adventure should have done what Cedar Point did and is doing with Top Thrill Dragster, and that is not rush it. It's very sad to see two iconic, record-breaking Intamin coasters be in the news so much over the last year or so. Just imagine if Six Flags had to keep Toro closed for all of 2022 while they retracked the entire ride. This would have been the perfect year for it, since the park has been so slow thanks to the new CEO and him eliminating the cheaper passes for the parks. But sadly, that didn't happen because pressure was coming from somewhere and Six Flags had to get El Toro back in operation as soon as possible. With all of that said, here are the 4 outcomes that I think the future holds for El Toro, along with a percentage for you to see what I predict the likelihood of that happening. With only a 5% chance of happening, we would see more track work but no major changes, and El Toro will open again as is. Now you and I both know that we will never ride El Toro again as we know it. I just don't see how that's even possible. Now miracles do happen, and obviously the coaster community does not want to say goodbye to El Toro, at least in this way, but I highly doubt this outcome. Next up, with a 25% chance of happening, I can see Six Flags Great Adventure getting rid of El Toro altogether. And the main reason why is this new CEO, because he is clearly about cost-saving measures and not doing much research before he brings a decision to the table. So while I would hate this, I definitely think Six Flags should just throw in the towel and remove this coaster altogether. But I share some good news for the El Toro fans out there, because I really do think there is a realistic shot of Six Flags having the coaster totally retracked the way it should be, just like Colossus a few years back. Six Flags doesn't make the smartest decisions in my opinion, but I think they know or would have to know just how valuable El Toro is to Six Flags and to Great Adventure. And removing El Toro would be an enormous loss for the park. So I'm going to give it a total retract for El Toro, a 30% chance of happening. And that leaves us with finally a 40% chance of happening, and to prevent any future issues with the Intamin Prefab technology, Six Flags will call up RMC and have them convert El Toro into the world's tallest and fastest RMC Hyper Hybrid coaster. If Six Flags wanted to, they could easily build the world's best roller coaster using El Toro's existing layout and the area around it. Now just think about what RMC could do with this layout. And what I would love to see in this dream scenario is extending the first drop to make it even larger. Also, keeping the first 2 airtime hills and have the new El Toro feature a giant stall somewhere in the layout. And of course, offer a few inversions, maybe a tunnel or 2. I would love to see a massive wave turn, and most importantly, no mid-course brake run. And for all of my friends out there that play No Limits or Planet Coaster, if you have time and want to design a layout for this, I'm sure a lot of us would love to see it. But back to the fate of El Toro, and my first question is going to be, how will Salim, the new CEO, handle this incident? Will he make a rapid decision about the ride, or will he actually take the time to think about the possibilities for the future? After everything he has done and how he's handled his role at Six Flags, I gotta admit, I'm worried. So with that, what do you think about my predictions and what are yours? Be sure to let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.